Hello, my name is Mazullah Khan, and my data story is about gender wage gap in Canada. In the first part of this story, I provided the background, and actually, gender wage gap is a global phenomena. According to OECD report, Canada is one of the worst performing countries in the world as far as gender wage gap is concerned. As far as Canada is concerned, historically, the wage gap has been persistent. Uh, the absolute wage gap, but the percentage wage gap is on decline. What explains gender wage gaps? There are two different theories. One is human capital theory, which says that there is no discrimination against women. And in fact, the differences in wage gap is because of the differences in productivity. So I challenge that in my data story. And then the other school of thought says that there is some self-selection going on where female workers they self-select into professions which do not pay the highest. My guiding questions revolve around these concepts. So the first question explores the raw wage gap in Canada. Then I ask this question that is there any difference in educational attainment? Is there any occupational sorting? And then in the last two questions, I use some statistical methods to control for education and occupation specific returns. I use dataset for Canadian Labour Force Survey for October 2022, and my approach is simple. I use only visualizations to answer these questions. So as far as the first question is concerned, we can certainly see that there is a wage gap in Canada. It is 3.82. Alberta is the worst performing province with 6.42 is a wage gap, and the fairest province is actually Prince Edward Island, which is minus 0.05. Are there any differences in educational attainment? Yes, I did see some education differences in educational attainment. Female uh, workers, 28.5% of them they have at least a bachelor degree compared to 24%, 24.66% of men. But despite of higher education, better educational outcomes, the pay gap is less again. So men are earning 46 versus women they are earning $41. There is occupational sorting as well. So I did, I created five clusters through a Tableau built-in function, and in the top highest paying professions, women are underrepresented. So 25% of men are working for highest paid professions, and only 12% of female are working in the highest paid professions. In the lowest paid professions, women are more concentrated. So this may explain partly the wage gap. What happens, for example, if we take into account returns on education? So I use some statistical methods, and the wage gap actually escalates to 5.09. And once I controls for occupation specific returns, the wage gap is $4.11. In conclusion, yes, there are gender based wage gaps, and it is still a puzzle for many. Thank you very much for your attention.